You don't want to share your literature with people who disagree with it? That's what we do. We share literature with people who disagree with it. Try to exchange those ideas. What organization are y'all, so I can just look you up on the internet? I'll read it there. I was trying to get the literature for the. I don't know what's the. Oh, I know, but what's the symbol mean?
I just got it from them.
You put a symbol on, you don't know what it means? What if it means something you don't agree with?
I mean, I know it stands for.
Oh, okay. What is it?
It's just
Normans for reproductive justice?
Yeah.
Reproductive justice? I believe in reproductive justice.
Yeah, I assume you do.
I mean, after there's a baby, they should be protected. Prior to there being a baby, you should have the right to reproduce or not. I think reproducing is awesome, being fruitful and multiplying and all that stuff. But if there's a human there, that's when it's kind of like, that's when we step in and say, let's not do this.
What if you were forced to reproduce?
If I were what?
What if you were forced to reproduce? Like if you were
If I was forced, like raped?
If you were a woman,
yeah.
and you were raped, then like and you got pregnant.
Saying I'm not a woman?
If you had a uterus.
I don't have a uterus. But then again, if I said I had a uterus, you'd kind of have to like not offend me and agree. That's what I hear on the internet. It's all the rage.
If you told me you had a uterus, I'd believe you. Yeah.
I don't have a uterus. I have been in a uterus. My wife has a uterus, and all my children have been in that uterus, but I don't have a uterus.
Yeah, I just don't understand.
You don't, that guy said it was BS. He doesn't think I've been in a uterus. We've all been in uteruses. It's a fact.
Funny about this. I like it.
It's a fact.
No, but I just mean like, what if you?
But
like, if you like.
I believe in punishing the rapist to death. I'm hardcore like that. I don't think you should punish the child for the crime of the rapist, though.
Okay.
I think you should help the woman who's raped. And I think the best thing you can do for her is to surround her with lots of love and compassion and assistance. She either keeps the baby and raises the baby, which is actually more frequent than you would think, or she places the baby for adoption and someone else cares for the child. But I don't think the child should have their head cut off because their father was a rapist.
What is your stance on if being pregnant harms or possibly kills the woman who's pregnant?
Like if there's a ectopic pregnancy that develops to like 20 some odd weeks and is going to rupture the tube, I think you should perform a C-section, try to save the baby, try to save the mother. You should watch, wait, help.
If you had to choose between the mother and the C-section,
if it's like a legitimate like a medical triage situation.
Like you have to choose save the baby or save the mother.
Like when a fireman gets to a wreck and the car's about to blow up and there's like a person here and a person here.
Bleeding out of the brain.
You probably whoever is the easiest to save if it's literally in that situation. Now that's not as common as people say. Generally what's going on is, so just to be honest, we've lost two, so I have 4 kids, 3 that are born, 1 that's unborn, and then I have 2 other kids that we've lost to miscarriages. Don't know what caused the miscarriage, but it happened like 6 to 8 weeks. Probably, either ectopic or some kind of genetic,
Yeah, I'm really sorry that
but
happened.
yeah, it's awful, but it wasn't an intentional decision on our part.
Yeah.
And with one of the babies that was maybe like 9 or so, there was we may have had to remove the baby. I saw it was pretty sad, but we saw 9 weeks the baby looks like a little cashew.
Yeah.
We saw them, but they had perished. There's a lot of bleeding, and it would have been removed. People would call that an abortion, but my wife didn't want to abort the baby.
Yeah.
But that baby actually passed.
Yeah.
But I think that it's good that we have the ability to help people when their babies die inside of them. But
Can I ask you a question? Because you brought up how the mother should put it into adoption if she doesn't want the baby rather than aborting it. What about all the children that are stuck in adoptive homes or foster care that are being abused, tortured, and going through foster care?
We should help them, but that they're being abused doesn't mean we should murder a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah, but it wasn't the child's decision to go into that foster home, So it's kind of like you guys are saying it's not the child's decision for the mother to abort it, but it's also not the child's decision to go into the foster care and to have these parents that don't actually care for children; they just want like the social security checks.
Yeah, which is awful. Those
Yeah,
people are
it is
awful.
awful.
But
Oh, yeah.
but then again, I don't think the answer is, man, wouldn't it have been better if we just murdered them before this? Some of them get in awful situations, some of them don't. My experience with people who adopt, I mean, I know a bunch of Christian people who adopt babies,
Sure.
and they're not abusing them. But I think that's beautiful and that's good. People that are abusing babies or children that they've adopted, well, that should be criminal too. And it is criminal if they
Yeah.
get caught. So now if there was a law, say, or a Supreme Court ruling that said people who adopt children can do whatever they want to them, I'd be trying to abolish that law.
Yeah.
So I just think there's consistency. There's definitely let's abolish abortion. The laws that protect you from being murdered or attacked or assaulted or stolen from, they should apply to everybody equally.
Sure.
And you don't have to be able to like solve world hunger to be like for helping the people that you can't help, you know?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting question, but I mean,
What about, over in, I don't remember if it was Idaho or Indiana, there was a little 10-year-old girl who was raped and couldn't get an abortion in her state, but she was
Yeah.
not physically capable of having that baby, so she had to fly to a different state to be able to get that abortion.
yeah, I know the story. I don't know. I mean, it's a highly politicized thing. It's
Things like this
awful.
usually are
It's
hard.
awful because really, when I read those stories, I'm enraged. I'm like, why are we freaking out about the guy who raped the 10-year-old? What, the story isn't about like find the rapist who assaulted this 10-year-old.
Yeah.
The story is a bunch of left people who believe abortion for any reason whatsoever,
Well, they already had the guy in custody.
who want, well, okay, so, but see, the deal is I would say that 10-year-old girl, now whether or not she can bring the baby to term or not is a question. And so I think that you need to have her under medical supervision and help her and all that kind of stuff. If the child can be delivered, awesome. If the child can be delivered through C-section, awesome. If the child is given a chance and the medical doctors do no harm to either the mother or the child, that's great. Unfortunately, we live in a culture that anytime anyone's raped, the culture's just like, go kill that baby. I would be for the culture saying surround them, help them, love them, provide for them.
But
She's
that's
10.
still a lot of trauma.
And the government
on the
won't
body.
support a 15-year-old who's willing to have a baby because they think she's too young to have said baby, but then they want to force the
Oh,
10-year-old
wow. Our culture's
to have a baby.
our culture's not perfect, but there's lots of people who would love to help 15-year-olds
Yes,
with a
there are
baby.
lots of people, but
I mean,
not-
all of
not
us
the
would.
right people.
Well, I mean, you would, I would. I mean, like I edited a book by a 13-year-old girl, or she wasn't 13 when she wrote the book. She was 13. Her stepfather was raping her, all in secret, and then got abortion pills and forced her to have an abortion at 13. Raped her, impregnated her again at 14. She felt guilty because she felt like she didn't do everything she could. So, just personally, she wasn't a Christian. She went.
Yeah.
Anyway, she then, whenever her stepfather gave her the pills at 14, she didn't take them, but told him she did. And then when she started showing, she used the evidence of the baby to convince her mother that the guy she was with was a rapist.
Yeah.
And he got prosecuted. She had the baby, 14 years old. The standard, this is the, when I met them, it was like meeting mother and daughter, and they were like the same size. They looked very similar in age,
Yeah.
because she's, 14 when she had a baby. She had help from her parents and all that kind of stuff. It's a beautiful story. Her abortion whenever she was 13 protected the rapist. Abortion generally
She didn't choose
protects.
that abortion.
Well,
That was
Yeah.
forced upon her.
yeah, it was forced on her.
But then
It was
her
highly
choice.
manipulatively encouraged.
Yes, but then it was her choice to not take the pills to then have the baby.
Yeah, but so in the sense of like, do I think people should choose whether other people live or die? I don't think they should. I think our culture's wrong. I just
Yeah,
think we're
But
just
you
wrong.
just were saying that if someone or if a man rapes a woman, then he should be punished to death.
Yeah, because you
That's choosing for murder.
no, you can. So a man's possession of certain body parts doesn't give him the right to rape people. right? It just,
Yeah.
Right.
you don't have, why? Because there's two bodies involved. So abortion and rape, totally different. They're both, in my view, evil, but the thing that's similar about them, they're both acts that bigger, more powerful people are doing to other people against their will. So if you believe that the human being is made in the image of God and is valuable, has rights, ought to be protected equally, you believe in the whole equal rights thing, which I know most people don't. If you believe that, in the event of rape, you can't say this human here shouldn't be protected. You gotta bring them into the equation. Even if it's, I'm biting the bullet here, but even if it's rough for the mother, that person has to be protected. And murdering that baby is not going to make the rape go away.
But
It's actually going to compound it if you look at the studies. Not only do they remember the rape, they also remember the abortion.
okay.
Instead of, I was raped, I had this baby, and this baby isn't my rapist baby. This isn't rape spawn. I love this child. It's beauty from ashes. That is an actually overwhelming story in our culture. Like, people are always wondering, what about abortion in the case of rape? And you're like, out here tonight, there are people walking around who are conceived in rape. You telling me that those people are worthless?
No, not at
no.
all.
I know,
They're adults.
they should be protected.
Yes.
So it is a very extreme minority view to protect rape conceived children. They are literally, I don't know if y'all are Christians or not, but in biblical terms, like Jesus said, love the least of these. Like, whatever you did not do for the least of these, like literally the least among you, whatever you didn't do for them, you didn't do for me. I cannot think of anyone who's more unprotected and betrayed and abandoned than the child conceived in rape. So I think we have to love them as much as we love ourselves.
So, do you believe that like babies start from conception? Like
Well,
conception,
humans. Baby's kind of a term. I mean, you can call them babies, but
Human beings
yeah.
are in like immediately
Yeah.
sperm and egg
Yeah.
conception.
Fertilization produces a new human being.
So
It's
do
a
you guys
scientific
believe
fact.
that like birth control and Plan B are types of abortions?
Plan B has a design secondary effect to prohibit the implantation of a newly conceived human embryo. And in that secondary effect is designed termination of a human being. So it'll mess with the lining of the uterus to make it whenever the human being that's been conceived can implant and is flushed out with urine. And so that would be murder of a human embryo. If Plan B is stopping the sperm from reaching the egg, that's not murder. Problem with Plan B is there's no way to know. It's like out hunting and the bush is moving and just shooting it when it could be like someone's kid. It's just you don't know, so I'm not for it. It's
So what about
No.
birth control? Is birth control
just different kinds of birth control. I mean, I'm not a Catholic, so I'm not opposed to contraception. That is prohibiting conception. But if it's contragestion, if it's something that once there's a conceived human, it makes it to where that conceived human is in an inhospitable womb, then I'd oppose it. Because it's a Christian belief. I mean, I don't think non-Christians necessarily are going to go with this. But if I believe that human beings are made in the image of God and that they're humans from the moment of conception, that Jesus himself, when he became human, he didn't pop into baby form in a manger. He literally was conceived in the womb of a young unmarried woman, young, not planning to be with child, floated the tube, implanted, and developed.
wasn't she with Joseph, her husband?
Yeah, she was a virgin though. It was prior
Yeah,
to
she was
their.
a virgin, but you said she was unmarried, so I was just
Yeah, she was not yet married. She was betrothed, but she was unmarried, and she had to go tell the guy. Like it's like God knew the exact story that our culture would tell to justify abortion, and he chose it to be the Christmas story. She's young, she's not married, she's in a culture where if you're married out of wedlock, you can be stoned to death. And Christ enters, like the creator of the cosmos becomes the size of a single human cell and goes through every stage of embryonic development in the womb of a woman who has to tell a guy, I'm pregnant and I have never known a man. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
She could have been killed, she could have had an abortion, I mean, all that kind of stuff.
Back then they didn't have the stuff to
Well,
have
they did. It was they used certain herbal abortifacients.
well, true,
Yeah.
but like so
But she didn't do that. She said, let it be, and
yeah.
the
I
world
was
is.
talking to people over there, and we were talking about how, like, in the Bible, it says, "Judge other people how you wish to be judged yourself."
Or judge righteously, and judge people how you want to be.
Quoting things.
Yeah, it's don't judge with your judgment, judge with God's judgment. So if God has said something is bad,
Yeah.
you can say that something's bad.
Yeah, sure.
But don't. But you're right. Don't judge people hypocritically. Like I can't. Like I'm a sinner, and I can't run around saying you're all sinners and I'm not a sinner. That would be
Sure.
that'd be
Well,
stupid.
What we were talking about is, like if I don't want people to come up to me and scream at me and like say that I'm being like a shitty person because of something that I'm choosing to do, but yet there are
Well, it depends on what you're
Christians and
doing.
other people who believe in this stuff.
If you were like a sex trafficker and I found out about it, I may not use the S word, but I might yell at you.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing that. There's a time and a place to tell people, stop doing that.
Okay, sure, time and place,
know.
but it's like I don't personally believe that people should be telling that to the women who are going inside abortion clinics, making some of the hardest decisions of their life.
Well, that's not generally what actually happens outside of abortion clinics. That's the cultural perception. Generally, it's
It is the
turn away from this
like,
place, we'll help you. I mean, I've been out there thousands of times. Turn away from this place, we'll help you. Do not murder your child. That person can feel like they're being told hateful things because truth may sound like hate to them because they're choosing to believe a lie that what they're doing is good. But what they're doing is bad, and it will haunt them, and it is sin. That, like my sign is saying, even abortion being murder can be forgiven.
No, yeah, I read your sign when I was across the
Yeah,
street.
I mean, it's not a hateful thing to say.
I know.
Yeah, and
But I'm saying there are people, like I'm not saying every single abortion clinic has people standing outside.
Sure,
screaming,
yeah,
but there
some people
are
out- yeah,
certain
bad.
people who will do that.
totally, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like, you're one of
Yeah.
them, because you seem very peaceful and calm. So I'm not-
Yeah, I would say they're there, they're real. Now, them being the way they are doesn't mean that it's okay to take the head off a baby when they're at 11 weeks in the womb. No matter how many totally awful people there are in the world doing totally awful things, those things don't justify other evil. So I don't, but generally speaking, helping people who are in that place, especially if you're thinking, like you're talking about like an abolitionist. I'm not gonna speak for all pro-lifers because I don't agree with them.
Yeah.
But if you're out in an abortion mill and you're out there to try to rescue the human that's being taken away to death, what you're doing could look unloving if the person is really dead set on thinking what they're doing is good.
Yeah.
Most
So-
women getting abortions though don't necessarily think what they're doing is a good act.
Oh, I definitely
All in
agree.
all.
I think that they all
Yeah.
know it's wrong. That's what's crazy. I mean, I really do.
But
But
there
that's
are
the thing.
reasons, like okay,
If
I
they
think-
feel like even though it is an ultimately wrong decision,
it's right for them.
it's right for the
Yeah.
their lives.
But see, that's like how our culture rolls, but that's like insane. That's like if you take that same view and apply it to really bad people, like don't freak out. Ready? Don't freak out. Trigger warning. Hitler thought what he was doing was really good.
Yeah.
He really did.
Oh yeah.
Now that he thought it was good, didn't make it okay. Guy was dead wrong.
Yeah,
You
but
can't
he thought it was
compare
good.
abortion to
Then there's
Hitler.
also
He thought he
not
was
anybody
improving the human race.
wants to have an abortion.
Also, though, we're saying
Well, some people do, some people don't. But most people just are loving themselves more than their child.
Hitler also
It's a
was-
basic
Hitler
equation.
also was half Jewish and not a blonde or blue-eyed person.
Yeah,
He
it's-
thought blonde, blue-eyed white people were like the ultimate.
He's a weird hypocrite, but it's.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, like it's like there should be like a Hitler test where you take what you're saying
I'm sure
and try to-
Let's speak about it in the street, right?
Yeah, it's just like, because a lot of times people say like, listen, how do you have the right to tell someone what to do with their body? And you say, well, if there wasn't a body inside their body and I didn't love my neighbors as myself, I guess I wouldn't tell them what to do with their body. Problem is, I kind of believe we should love our neighbors as ourselves, and the unborn child's my neighbor. And someone says, listen, you can't tell people what to do. Well, just taking what they're saying, you can't tell people. Yes, you can. You can tell rapists not to do that, pedophiles not to do that, thieves, murderers, cannibals. I know they're still going to do it.
Yeah.
But think about a culture like it's illegal for like you to murder me or me to murder you. People still break that law. Think about it if it wasn't against the law.
I'd be dead right now. You probably would have.
I would never murder you.
I know.
No, people would be murdering people all the time for like the craziest dumb things. Like almost any time you hate somebody, you would murder them if you could get away with it. So laws do have a function in our society of protecting people.
Yeah.
So people still steal, but that people still steal, we shouldn't make it therefore legal to steal. So I would say if we criminalized abortion, people would still get abortions, but way less. Because the law would.
Dangerously, though.
Well, all abortions are dangerous.
Well, yes, but it's more protected in the society we have now
It-
because
yeah.
it is legal.
It's sad
so if
that-
we get rid of it, it's like, we're going back to hangers. And
Well,
Then it's very likely that the,
No, what
the
we're-
baby and the mother.
just speaking honestly, what we've gone to in our culture now, even post-Roe, nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. It's all charade political game.
Yeah.
You can get an abortion pill. You can wake up in the morning and order an abortion pill and have it by the end of the week.
Yeah.
And that's why they could, I mean, not to sound like a tinfoil hat,
No.
they can repeal Roe because abortion is legal in every state in the United States of America, and nobody can stop anybody from doing it.
Yeah.
I wish we could, but we can't. The technology and the mail and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But again, just to center onto it,
Yeah.
if my perspective, the perspective of just Christians in general, is like, just because something is going to be done doesn't make it okay.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm
or
not-
just
I'm
because
not
it's like it's
you for your opinion.
yeah, it's not like say I was going to hire a hitman
Sure.
to murder my wife. Don't put that on TikTok. Love my wife. But say I was going to hire a hitman.
Yeah.
That too could be dangerous, right? I
Yeah.
hired the hitman, don't pay him right, whatever.
Yeah.
It's dangerous to hire people to kill other people. It shouldn't really be that safe.
Sure.
In fact, our laws are so legit on this that if you hire someone to kill somebody else and they don't even succeed, you can go to jail.
So would you
Like Joe Exotic.
This is like just in regards to
Tiger King.
like human beings in general. So like say someone was dying and needed a kidney, and I happened to be like the only person I could know. So
That's okay.
I was like the only person on earth who had the kidney.
You had the only remaining kidney.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I
you had
the only kidney.
a rare special kidney that only two people. Yes, I'm tracking totally with you.
And I said no. Like I want to keep my magical kidney.
Yeah.
Like, would you consider that murder?
Uh-uh.
No.
Because you're keeping your kidney. Now, if the guy said, please give me your kidney, and you said, I'm actually going to starve you to death, that would be murder. Or that would be like a chemical abortion. You cut off like they want your kidney, and you're so worried they're going to take it from you that you throw them down a well. That's murder. Or if you shoot them in the head or something, that's murder. Now, if you are talking about not sharing your kidney, that's not murder. It might be selfish, but it's not murder.
You can call it selfish.
But it's
you
not
can
murder.
Technically say
Yeah.
abortion is selfish because it is my decision.
But it's
my
not.
Body and my body alone.
Well, it's not your
But to call it
body
murder,
alone.
'cause I am. Well, I know. I get
like
where you're coming from. on that.
A body inside your body, no matter how many people on TikTok say it's your body, it's not your body.
I'm not getting all my facts from TikTok.
I just think I just feel like everyone's got sort of like the level of
TikTok is a very
thought.
political place right now.
Or
yes,
BuzzFeed. I say,
Yeah.
but like my wife's like will tell me stuff on BuzzFeed, and I'm like, I think people have forgotten how to think.
Yeah.
But like, there's like a sort of level of thought that
A lot of
no
people
matter-
become sheeps in a sense. Like
Yeah.
they follow everybody. Yeah, no, I get that. But
I actually respect. There's like these pro-choice or pro-abortion people that are actually pro-abortion that say, yes, it's a human being, yes, it's murder, and it's something we should be allowed to do. Those people are the only people on that other side that are telling the truth. Because the whole, like, it's not a human being, that's scientifically illiterate, philosophically inane. People who say it's not murder, well, what is murder? It's the intentional termination of a human being with malice and forethought. You, not to be crass, you pee on a stick, it's got a plus symbol, you don't want the baby, you set up an appointment or you order a pill because you hate them to death. I mean, it's just,
But
our culture does it.
A lot of people, or a lot of women who get pregnant,
It's not a I hate this baby and I
Sure.
want it to die.
Well, there's a big,
it's
some of them are. Just get on the internet. Some of them are.
but
some
also
people,
Yeah.
if that is
doubt
the case.
But that's kind of like you
Yeah.
saying how like not everybody stands outside of an abortion clinic and
Sure.
defends them. You know,
Yeah.
not everybody believes.
I would say,
But if
hate
that
the
was
baby.
the case, if
it's a
the
form
woman
of
was
hate,
like,
even if it's
I
not
hate
malicious.
this baby and I want it dead, you would still want that woman to carry that baby to
Yeah,
term?
because the baby is my neighbor and I would want to do for them what I'd want done for me.
But
So if I think about the baby and I just think, what would I want done for me? Say my mom didn't hate me, but she didn't really want me and put me out on the curb. I would want someone
Well,
to help.
mothers who take their babies to fire stations and like put them in the safe box. And
Yeah, way better than, I mean,
But-
that's not the best thing for that baby, but it's way better than
that's not the baby's fault.
stabbing them in
if
the
your
face.
woman hates the baby inside her, and
Or just
she's-
doesn't want it.
Yeah.
They don't want it.
Yeah. And is forced to carry it to term and forced to give birth to it, or C-section, either way, and they choose to keep that baby because they hate it and they would like to abuse it. They could do that because it is their baby.
Well, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. Thankfully,
Well,
that's
not
against the law.
legally, But
Yeah, they'd be breaking the
if a
law.
woman
Children are scared to go out and tell people that their parents are abusing them.
I know, but that's wrong. But
They love
but
their
imagine a world where you had a different political system and worldview, and the country said you're allowed to do with your children whatever you want, and like 3% of the Christians in the culture said, we don't think that you should be allowed to abuse your babies, regardless of what the Supreme Court says or the Constitution. And they went and stood on corners in the street, and the sign said, child abuse is sin, but there's forgiveness. So it'd be something that people were doing that was evil that I'd be opposing and trying to protect the human that's in that case being hurt
Yeah.
in whatever way I can.
Yeah.
By reasoning with because abortion, we kind of talk about it like it's a women thing. Dudes love abortion. It's like it's a universal thing.
It's a both.
politicians,
I've probably had abortions, yeah.
Oh,
they're
Paid for abortions. I mean, and I'm talking right or left,
yeah.
It's just like Donald Trump, he's just being political. That guy's probably had abortion. I mean, I don't know, obviously, but it's kind of like,
they want it when it's in their favor.
yeah, everyone's like that.
Yeah.
So if we just take it out of the political thing and you say, why do we have abortions? It's not because it helps women to be free and equal. Because a lot of abortions, there's other things that would help them be free and equal,
So can I ask you a
such
question?
as like, allowing women to be pregnant and
Yeah. So can I ask you
not
a
have a
serious
financial tax. Yeah.
question? So like, the whole no abortion law is now out. So what about like
Which law?
no abortion? Like abortion getting banned and all. Well, not getting banned, but they gave the rights back to the states, so the states can choose whether or not to have abortion.
Right. Dobbs says a state. So when California says we're going to have hundreds of abortion mills, they're doing it by permission of the Supreme Court.
Clinics. I don't like the word mill. It's like
Abortion, well, I'll go hardcore. Child sacrifice centers. California
sure.
can do that.
Take those sacrifices, sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's our mod.
Yeah.
We dressed it up.
So how would you feel if all of a sudden the Supreme Court was like, since women don't have the right to have abortions, men now have to get vasectomies to therefore prevent like babies being.
Well, that'd be a violation of actual bodily autonomy. Because a man, so a vasectomy, right? Like tube tying or whatever, you can't impregnate people.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's like the Supreme Court has ruled that's before for like feeble-minded people. right, back in the day.
Sure. Yeah.
It was wrong. Supreme Court was dead wrong on that. They've been wrong a number of times. Black people are property, wrong, so
Yeah.
So many political wrongs.
yeah, the Supreme Court's a joke, okay?
Yeah. Sure.
But, so, I think they're wrong in Roe, they're wrong in Dobbs. I think the country has a lot of wrong things in various ways, but it's generally good, the right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and due process of all people. I think all people, before they're murdered or before they're killed, deserve equal protection and due process. So, an innocent child is deprived of the right to life with abortion. They're deprived of the right to life under Roe v. Wade and under Dobbs, because all the abortions happening in states that choose to have legalized pregnancy terminations,
Okay.
to go with that.
Sure.
All of those human beings are being deprived of the right to life, and it's sanctioned by the Supreme Court, or the state legislature, or the U.S. Congress,
Vasectomy.
president.
That was
Vasectomy is whenever you prohibit your sperm from coming out of your body.
yes, and abortion
Forced-
is prohibiting the
No, abortion,
something from coming
so
out of my body.
the actual analogy would be, what if the Supreme Court, well no, but it's another baby, it's not sperm.
Well-
Sperms aren't babies, they're not like little men inside there. It's just genetic material from the dad.
Family Guy fixed it for stealing, drove around to sperm. So.
Yeah, I know, it's funny, but I mean, so like if there was a Supreme Court ruling that said women weren't allowed to like have periods and produce eggs, that would be a violation of reproductive rights.
Yeah.
Because she's being told she's not allowed to reproduce. The man would be being told he's not allowed to reproduce. The difference is you're talking about when there's production, when there's a reproduction. That's when things change. The government should reserve the right to protect any human being.
Sure.
I don't think forcing, I get it why some men are chemically castrated. I get it,
Sure.
they're criminals or whatever. But it's a crazy hypothetical. We're obviously not gonna,
Well, yeah, it's crazy hypotheticals, but again, it's like, women's bodies, men's bodies.
like if it were in a weird, say like in a multiverse situation where women didn't have the right to choose abortion, but men did. Say like a super patriarchal world where men, after the woman says she's pregnant, they choose abortion or not, and the woman doesn't have say. That's wrong,
Which happens.
What about
because man can't decide who lives and dies.
what about babies getting before getting cut off?
What?
Like
Forced
little babies
forced
getting
circumcision?
before- yeah, circumcision.
Yeah. So
The baby didn't get a choice on that, and that's technically
Yeah.
changing its body.
it's easier to deal with. If circumcision was like cutting the baby in half, I would definitely oppose it.
You're still cutting
forced.
a piece off the baby,
Yeah. Well, circumcision is,
and that's also a religious.
it comes from
lifespan.
We've had
Western.
enough of their time.
Wait, did you just force them to not talk? That's weird. Are they your friends? Hey, I liked having a conversation with y'all.